Losing is losing. It's not a win, but we can take good things away from that. We shouldn't be. You've got to be able to recognize, hey, this team was 4 touchdowns better than us, and we lost 28-14. So we've got our should-win games, games that we should win by a lot and we lose. We've got our could-win games, games that we know should have been close and we lost. And we've got our shouldn't-win games, games that we had no business winning, and at the end of the day, we didn't. Well, these are pretty simple. We're not supposed to beat that team. We had no business even competing with that team. They're a 4-touchdown favorite. And we lost. Maybe we made it closer than we should have. It's not a win. Losing is losing. It's not a win, but we can take good things away from that. We shouldn't be. You've got to be able to recognize, hey, this team was 4 touchdowns better than us, and we lost 28-14. Not bad. I have a lot of clients in JDFB Insider who, I might not put their record in my marketing materials. But I have guys who will email me and say, you know what, we were 0-10 last year and we lost by 50 every game. We joined JDFB Insider. We started running the 4-2-5 defense, pistol power offense, whatever they decided to take from it. We went to the Coach Simple, play fast, win philosophy. And we went 0-10. But we had 5 games that we were in. And it was with the same guys, the same players, We were still 4-touchdown underdogs in every game. But instead of losing by 6, we lost by 1. And that's like just being able to compete. That's improvement. And so that coach can't look at that. Now, everybody else may look at that. Maybe the administration, the community, they look at it and they go, holy smokes, 0-20. But as a coach, you've got to look at that and say, 0-20 with an asterisk. Like the last 10 were a heck of a lot better than the first 10. And we know we're on the right track. We're moving in the right direction. When you're a 500 team and you go to play the state champs and you lose that game by 14, hey, we made the state champs sit up and take notice. We're no running clock. They weren't just out there running their stuff. We made them sit up and take notice. We are headed in the right direction to where we are going to be at that state champ level one day. Shouldn't win games almost always come down to talent, not X's and O's. You are usually talking about your players are smaller, slower, less experienced, weaker than the opponent. Maybe you've got fewer numbers. Maybe they're able to 2 platoon because they've got 55 guys on their varsity roster. You've got 21. You can't even 2 platoon in practice. Can't even get 2 platoons in practice. My approach to these is to seek out the positives from your performance. But don't waste a lot of time on the film, because the fact is that film is just going to upset you and your players, because you're probably, and now I'm talking more about, hey, losing a 4-touchdown game by 4 touchdowns or 5. You probably got embarrassed. Now, if you kept it close, even if you didn't keep it close, here's what you need to look for. What in the film can I show them and say, if we had done this all night, look at us shutting down that Division I running back. Look at you blowing up that Division I tackle. And you got your little, maybe he's going to get to play D3 one day if he really wants to, if he wants to pay for tuition. But look at you wrecking that kid. Like you gave that kid problems. You made that kid think about it. That's what I want to look at, and I want to pull those clips to show our players something they can take away from that game that's going to build our team, But I'm not going to tear them down losing to a team that is just flat out better. What went right? What can we take away that are positives? What can we take away that we want to see more of? Understand that it's not talent, or that it is talent. It's not X's and O's. Do not change your scheme. Do not change your scheme. Do not wreck any confidence. Look for things to build confidence in the scheme that you ran and build on it so that when you play the could wins and the should wins that you are executing, and you don't end up looking at a could win or a should win and saying we lost because our kids didn't understand our scheme. Build on the scheme that you were running. You shouldn't be changing scheme week to week. Build on the scheme that you're running. Give your players confidence in what you're doing. Coach simple, play fast, win. And then forget it and move on. You don't need to spend a lot of time in film study on this team. Spend time with your family. Get out of the film room. So we need to get away from this and go be happy with what we got from it and move forward. Focus on the positives. Take your cut-ups from Huddle. Send them to your guys. Watch them on Monday in your meeting. Hey, here's some things we did really well. You guys are on the brink of being great. Because look at you. Look at the plays. There might only be 3 of them. But look at these 3 plays where we had state champ on their heels. And then they went for 80 and, it's on. But focus on those things. Take that away from your shouldn't win games. Again, you can learn something from any loss, including the ones that you have no business winning. And you certainly shouldn't be rooting around and pouting and ruining your weekend with your family because of them. So at the end of the day, what we take away from this is that, this is going to be segment 5. So at the end of the day, what we take away from this is that every single loss, good, bad, or should win, shouldn't win, could win, every single one of them, there is something to learn for a football team. But it doesn't do you any good. Don't wear it as a badge of honor that you just cannot function after you lose a football game because you're still competitive. Like, let it go. Let it go. You've got to learn to do that. It's not easy. But move forward. Find out what you can learn from this game and then start moving forward as soon as you possibly can. By the time that you're looking at that exchange film, you should be moving forward. And hopefully you get the exchange film, Saturday morning after a Friday night game. You should be moving forward when you're looking at that film. Not spending all week looking at what happened last week. Last week is over. You learn from it and you move on. And that's how we've got to handle losses. You study it, you look at it, you learn from it, you move on. You don't need to watch it 10,000 times. You get what you get from it, you go forward. Do you self-scout? Sure. But you don't spend a ton of time looking over the footwork forward and back, forward and back, forward and back, and saying, why didn't we do that right? Stupid. Right? You solve the problems. Coaching is problem solving. Coaching is not being a tough guy. Coaching is not running guys till they puke. Coaching is not any of this stuff. It's not being an X's and O's master. Coaching is problem solving on and off the field. It's how do we solve these problems? It's a game. It shouldn't ruin your life. Take losses as an opportunity to learn. Don't focus on the negatives of the game. Focus on how we find the negative and then we work to solve it. We work to get better. In the case of a shouldn't win game, we just focus on the positives because we're supposed to win anyway. Now, you may have negatives in a shouldn't win game. You may have players who just quit, who give up, that kind of stuff because they shouldn't. You've got to solve those too. I should mention that on the shouldn't win games. You never want players to just throw their hands up, and that's not what I'm telling you to do. Is just go, well, we weren't supposed to win anyway. No, you look at the things. Remember, we're talking about after the game and evaluation. I think that's important to note. Is that the evaluation that we're talking about of should win, could win, shouldn't win. This is a post-game evaluation. We all do it internally to an extent on Saturday when we get the exchange film. But what I'm talking about is a post-game evaluation. In pre-game, in the week leading up to the game, I think you evaluate everything as a could-win game, and you coach it in that manner. You coach everything as a could-win game. You coach at you never underestimate an opponent as a coach. You never overestimate an opponent as a coach. You always or underestimate your own team as a coach in a game. But after the game is over, we can go back and we can honestly evaluate and say could win, shouldn't win. And then what can we learn from it, and how do we evaluate, and how do we move forward? I hope that gives you some ways to move forward. Maybe you're still worried about a loss that you had back, at the end of last season, and you're in the off season now. Get forward, get going forward. Like let's let it go. And I've talked about a couple of losses that we had. Obviously, I haven't forgotten them, but I hope that I learned something from them and eventually move forward. And I've gotten pretty good about moving forward. I'm still not okay on Friday night. Sometimes I am. Sometimes after a game on Friday night, I'm on the bus ride thinking about the next game. I'm still not okay on Friday night, but by Saturday morning, by Saturday at noon, I'm probably okay. I'm probably ready to move forward. And that's about the amount of time. I think that's about the amount of time that you get to brood over a loss. I also think your players probably enjoy the win the whole weekend. You probably need to move on from the win. You can still enjoy it, but, again, it's time to get to work on the next one. You can't sit back and be like, well, we won that big game. I'm not even going to worry about game planning for this team. Like, move forward. Let's start, what can we do better?